So now that you've made your homemade teriyaki sauce, the first thing you're probably going to try it with is the classic teriyaki chicken. Let me show you how it's done. All right, I've got everything I need here. Just some chicken thigh fillets, a touch of corn flour, of course our homemade teriyaki sauce, a little oil for the pan, and then some Japanese mayonnaise to finish things off. Let's start with the chicken. Now, chicken thighs are much better than chicken breast for teriyaki chicken. They've got a little bit more fat and flavor to them, and they're not gonna dry out so easily in the frying pan. But still, the number one thing that people go wrong when they're making chicken is they cut it too small and then it shrinks up too much in the pan, it gets overcooked, it becomes like a little rubber bullet. So when you're cooking chicken, particularly teriyaki chicken, but any chicken dish really, make sure you don't cut the chicken too small. I've got one thigh fillet there, I'm gonna cut it probably into just 4 pieces. These nice, large kind of medallions. I'll cut through, firstly, each thigh fillet's in 2 lobes. You've got the big part of the thigh and the little part of the thigh there. Cut it so it's more or less equal, so the little part gets a little bit of the big part. And then just diagonal knife, nice big medallions, like that. Now some corn flour. I could toss these in corn flour, but I find that gives you too much of a coating. I use a brush because all I want is just a really light dusting on the edge of the chicken here. Because, so if we're doing a teriyaki beef or teriyaki steak, you wouldn't need any corn flour because it's gonna spend long enough in the frying pan to get a nice flavorful crust on the outside. But with chicken, we're not gonna cook it for too long because we certainly don't wanna overcook it. So this little bit of corn flour that we've got on the outside there is gonna give us a nice crust. It's gonna help this teriyaki sauce to stick to the outside, give us that nice, really glazed teriyaki chicken that we're looking for. So now, time to fry. So here's where a bit of technique comes in. I've got chicken coated in corn flour, and that's usually the kind of thing that might stick to a frying pan. I can guarantee you, however, if you've got problems with things sticking to your frying pan, the problem is 100% of the time that the frying pan isn't hot enough. This is where I think a lot of people go wrong. It's not immediately obvious because we're taught all kinds of things when we're learning to cook. Chicken, fish, whatever. If you start with a hot frying pan, nothing will ever stick. So here we are, we've got the pan really going. You can see the smoke coming off the pan. That's the kind of the point you want to get to with your frying pan. In with a bit of oil. You can see immediately how different that oil is in the pan. If you add oil to a cold frying pan, it's not going to move in the same way, and that's kind of, it shows you the difference in physics that's going to help our chicken not stick. Chicken goes in next. And with a really hot pan, I want to get a nice browning on the outside of the chicken. I'm not trying to cook the chicken all the way through. That's going to happen when the teriyaki sauce goes in. But just a nice browning on the chicken, on each side. If that's nice and brown, in with our teriyaki sauce. Now, as the sauce kind of starts to thicken and reduce and caramelize, it's going to coat the outside of that chicken. So I just want to watch it, keep pressing on the chicken to make sure that it's not overcooking. And then when it gets to a nice thick consistency of that sauce, do a shake of the pan just to get everything moving. Look at that, it looks fantastic already. The teriyaki glaze is kind of glazing and coating the outside, and that's exactly what it should be doing. It looks about ready now, so all I've got to do is get it onto the plate. Here we are. Just look at how perfect that is. You know, it's still got a bit of softness to it, so it's not springy and rubbery, which means our chicken's overcooked. And it's lovely and glazed in our homemade teriyaki glaze. Just finish that off with a touch of Japanese mayonnaise. And that's a homemade teriyaki chicken. From homemade teriyaki sauce, this is a 10-minute dinner. You're not going to beat it.